안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 저 이름은 벤자민 헤일인데요. 오아시스 국제학교 교장 선생님입니다. 지금 우리 팀 만나십시오. Our first person I want to introduce is Mrs. Becca Dawson, in charge of admissions. Second is Miss Rebecca Unruh. She's our director of curriculum and instruction. She will talk to you a little bit about our program today. After that, you will meet Ms. Allie Gingrich, and she is our elementary ELL teacher. So she's focused helping students that are learning English for the first time. And then we have Mrs. Michelle Wing. She is a 학부모 at our school. Finally, we have one of our students, Lee Daun, who is in grade 11 this year that we'll get to meet as well. Thank you for coming. Looking forward to talking with you today.
Good morning. I will be explaining today about what it means for us to have a U.S. curriculum here at OASIS. So first, I'd like to talk to you about what makes the U.S. curriculum different than some of the other programs around the world. Our learning at OASIS is very hands-on, so our students are often seen working with objects and doing experiments. Our learning is collaborative, so you will often find our students working together in small groups. Our learning is differentiated, so we do our best to structure our learning to meet the needs of each student, and our learning is project-based. So as often as possible, we like to have our students work on learning that is related to real-world application and real-world problems. So another part of our program is how our assessment is different. So at OIS and in the American curriculum, we believe that it is important to do frequent checkpoints to see how students are learning along the way, so we can intervene and support them early on if they're struggling to understand the concepts. We also use a variety of assessment types, so not only tests, but projects, posters, design are all ways that we assess the learning that our students are doing. And again, as often as possible, we like to have our students apply their learning in real world ways and assess them based on that. So here in Malaysia, there are two other educational systems that are very common. The first one is the IB program. One of the biggest similarities that OASIS has with the IB program is our learning style. Both are very project-based and student-centered focused. The biggest difference is that at the end of a student's time at OASIS, we offer a different diploma. Another system that's very common in Malaysia is the Cambridge or UK system. And the biggest similarities we share is that both of our curriculums are very rigorous and have a high level of expectation for our students. The biggest difference is our assessment style. So as I said before, we believe it's important to check on students' learning along the way. Whereas in the Cambridge system, most of a students' grades are based on one or several end of term assessments. So in the US system, the assessments we do are more frequent and there's not as much pressure on each individual one. One of the very important parts of our program and a frequently asked question is, what is our pathway to university? The answer is that our students can study anywhere. We have graduates who've been accepted into universities in the USA, Malaysia, Australia, the UK, Korea, Canada, Abu Dhabi, Japan, Singapore, China, Hong Kong, and even more countries. And as you can see here, these are just some of the universities that our students have been accepted into. And you can see that they are in Australia, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, all over the world. I'd like to talk now about the elementary English language program, which is the program we have for students who come into our school who are still learning English. So I'm going to pass it off to our elementary ELL teacher, Miss Allie Gingrich, to tell you about our program.
Hi, my name is Allie Gingrich. I am the elementary ELL teacher here at OASIS. I would like to talk about the curriculum in the elementary program. First, I want to talk briefly about the ELL teacher's role in the elementary. The ELL teacher has two roles, one in the ELL classroom and one in the homeroom class. In the ELL class, which students attend 3 times a week, the teacher connects ELL topics to English language arts standards. In addition, learning is differentiated to support the various English levels within a class. In the homeroom class, the ELL teacher monitors student progress with the teacher. In addition, ELL teachers push into the classroom to support students with content learning. Next, I want to share what students do in the ELL classroom. Students practice skills in all domains of language: speaking, listening, writing, and reading. These are also the domains that are covered in the annual WIDA language test. Here, you can see an example of how all domains are integrated into our curriculum. These are different stations that students engage in that target specific domains. You can see reading, listening, speaking, writing, and a station for grammar. Lastly, I want to share what ELL units look like. Students practice the domains of language through thematic units. In elementary, our curriculum is based on National Geographic's Wonderful World series and centered around the theme and grammar topics. ELL classrooms may adapt the content to the needs of the classroom from year to year. You can see an example of a lower elementary vocabulary and grammar topic based on the Wonderful World series in the picture below. Each unit covers grammar, reading comprehension, new vocabulary, writing, and speaking practice. Even though we have set grammar topics in each unit, learning is also differentiated to the needs of each student. This is because we have multiple English levels in one ELL class. Here is an example in writing. On these writing pages, the level of support decreases from left to right. This is, of course, flexible as a student progresses in English. Reading is also differentiated. This is usually done in flexible reading groups. We use a resource called RazKids that provides leveled books. In our flexible reading groups, students may also receive differentiated phonics instruction. These are the letter to sound relationships used to read in English. So one group of students may need work on the ch sound, while another group may need work on the long A sound. We also use a resource called BrainPop ELL. This is sometimes used in a whole group setting, but students can be assigned specific grammar topics to study based on their proficiency. Thank you so much for listening.
So in addition to our ELL program, where we support our very youngest students, and then our older students who already have a basic level of English, that's our ELL program. We also have the EIP program for students in the 4th through 7th grade who are just entering or just learning English and have a very limited proficiency. So for students whose English isn't yet advanced enough to enter our regular program, this is a short-term, very intensive English program where students spend the day learning English and vocabulary related to school to prepare them whenever they're ready, whether it's a quarter, a semester, to go into our regular program. All right, and so now I'd like to pass it to Mr. Ben Hale, who has some questions for one of our parents.
Thank you for that, Ms. Unruh. So the first question I have is for Mrs. V, and just asking, as a parent, as a 학부모, 왜 오아시스 오셨어요?
이 학교를 선택하기 전에 제가 말레이시아에 있는 거의 모든 국제 학교들을 전부 커리큘럼을 분석하고 그 학교에 대해서 조사를 하고 연구를 진행을 했습니다. 그래서 그 학교들 중에서 제가 정말로 제 아이가 만족할 만한 학교를 몇 군데를 선별해서 그 학교들이 실제로 학교에서 홍보하고 있는 내용과 실제로 운영되고 있는 것이 매치가 되는지를 직접 평가를 했습니다. 그래서 그 부분들을 진행했을 때 제가 느끼기에는 오아시스가 가장 솔직하고 또 학생들과 학부모를 진심으로 생각하고 학교를 운영하고 있다는 것이 진심으로 느껴졌기 때문에 이 학교를 선택했습니다. 그리고 학교를 다닌 지 1년 정도 되었는데 아주 만족하고 다니고 있습니다.
감사합니다. The next question we have is for, well, I have a few questions for 이다운. So the first question I'll ask in Korean is, 오아시스 학교에서 뭐 좋은 거 뭐 있어?
저희 오아시스 학교는 굉장히 긍정적이고 밝은 환경인 것 같은데요. 그래서 그런지 제가 조금 더 외향적이고 밝게 커갈 수 있는 것 같고, 저희가 이제 계속 지속적으로 그룹 프로젝트를 통해 창의력과 의사소통 능력을 키워줘서 틀에서 벗어난 생각을 할 수 있는 것 같아요.
다음, 다른 국제 학교 다녔지?
네.
근데 오아시스 학교 뭐 틀리는 거 있어?
제가 이제 꽤 많은 나라에서 학교를 다녀봤는데요. 저희 학교가 다른 학교에 비해 학생 수가 조금은 적은 편이에요. 이게 장단점도 있겠지만 제 입장에서는 장점이 조금 더 큰 것 같은데요. 당연히 이제 친구들이 잘 챙겨준 것도 있겠지만 수가 적다 보니 적응이 조금 더 쉬웠고요. 그리고 이제 선생님들이 이제 케어해야 되는 수가 적다 보니까 제가 이제 도움이 필요하면 바로바로 연락을 해서 선생님들이 피드백을 굉장히 빠르게 주실 수 있는 것 같아요.
The last question. How have you learned and grown as a person at OIS?
저희 학교가 신생 학교인데요. 제가 알기로는 2018년, 19년에 열었는데, 그래서 그런지 이제 학생들이 학교 이벤트나 클럽 같은 교내 활동들을 주도할 수 있어서 다른 역사가 깊은 학교에서는 못하는 소중한 경험들을 많이 경험할 수 있는 것 같아요. 그리고 이제 학생들끼리도 그렇고 선생님들과의 관계가 굉장히 친밀해서 되게 한 가족 같은 느낌으로 잘 지내고 있는데요. 정말 다양한 국적들의 친구들이 있지만 인종 상관없이 각자의 생각을 존중하며 다 같이 잘 어울릴 수 있는 것 같아요.
Thank you, Mrs. G, and to Dawn. Thank you very much for answering those questions.
Now I'm going to talk. I'm Miss Dawson. As Mr. Hale introduced, I am the Director of Admissions here at OASIS. So I'm going to answer a few admissions related questions. Important question that parents ask as they apply to OASIS is, how do we decide grade placement? So one resource we use are charts like this. When families apply, we obviously see the grade they apply for, and we get academic records from them, from what grade did they just finish. And so we take all of that into account when we are placing a child in a grade. Another very important thing is, of course, clarity on our application process. Our application process can all be done online, and this is helpful for families that are not yet in Malaysia. You apply online and you give us academic records, you give us information about your child and your family. And then we do the assessment and interview. So it's an informal interview where we ask the student some questions, and then we assess their level of English and math. And then we review, and that's when we would give an admissions decision. All right, another question we get a lot is, of course, about the assessment. So the first is just, what is it? We're assessing math and English. So for our littlest students, so for those that are 4, we're just seeing what they know. So shapes and numbers and colors. For those that are kindergarten and K5 and upward, we use this app, NWEA Map, and it is a math screener. And then the WIDA. The WIDA assessment is used for students that are coming from schools that do not use English as a language of instruction, or for students that English may be their second or third language. So the WIDA, it also can be done virtually. So we can give this test online, and it is testing on English level for 4 different domains. So speaking, listening, writing, and reading. And after we give it, we issue you a report so you can see the levels of those 4 different domains in both English and in Korean. Also, I will share about visa. So we do and can provide a student and guardian visa. This process starts after the family or a student is accepted to OASIS. And so in Malaysia, you do have to get approval from the Malaysian Ministry of Education before starting at an international school. So that's our first step. So we can apply for that for you. After that, you can book tickets, come to Malaysia, and that's what we will give you your official sticker in your passport. These are our tuition and fees for our academic year that starts in August. So you'll see the annual tuition is on the right, and I've put the ages as well. The application and admissions fees, as well as the new student fees that are one time, are on the left, as well as our ELL program fee.